The stars looked different today. Captain Do-hyun Kim noticed it first when he checked the sensors on the UES horizon. Strange energy readings came from the outer edge of the solar system. Something big was moving toward Earth. "Sir, we have unknown ships approaching," said Lieutenant Hae-jin Park from her station. Her voice was calm, but Do-hyun could hear the worry underneath. "They're not responding to our signals." Do-hyun walked to the main screen. The horizon was a small exploration ship, one of humanity's first vessels with faster-than-light travel. They had been testing the new engines near Jupiter when the reading started. Now, as he looked at the screen, his blood went cold. Hundreds of massive ships were moving toward Earth. They were unlike anything humans had ever built. Dark metal, hulls stretched for kilometers. Strange symbols glowed along their sides. These ships looked like they were made for war. "Send a message to Earth Defense," Do-hyun ordered. "Tell them we have unknown ships approaching, large fleet, possibly hostile." Engineer Tae-sung Lee looked up from his controls. "Sir, those ships are huge. Much bigger than anything we have. And there are so many of them." The communication system crackled to life. "This is Earth Defense Command. We see them too, Horizon. We're sending our fleet to intercept. Stay back and observe." Do-hyun watched as Earth's small defense fleet moved to meet the alien ships. Humanity had only 50 ships that could fight in space. The aliens had hundreds. It wasn't going to be enough. The first contact between humans and aliens lasted exactly 3 minutes. The alien ships opened fire without warning. Beams of purple energy tore through Earth's fleet, like it was made of paper. Human ships exploded in silent flashes of light. Within minutes, every Earth defense ship was destroyed. "My God," whispered Hae-jin. "They didn't even try to talk." The alien fleet continued toward Earth. As they got closer, Do-hyun could see their true size. The largest ships were like floating cities. They moved with purpose, arranging themselves. "Around the planet, all Earth stations, this is Admiral Kethvar of the Vorthak Empire." The voice came through all communication channels at once. It was cold and harsh. "Your species has been judged unworthy. You will be removed. There will be no surrender. There will be no mercy." Do-hyun's hands shook as he gripped his chair. "Tae-sung, how long until we can jump to faster than light?" 10 minutes, sir. The engines need to cool down from our last jump." "We don't have 10 minutes, Hae-jin said, pointing at the screen. The alien ships were positioning themselves above Earth's major cities. Weapon ports opened along their hulls. Do-hyun realized what was about to happen. They were going to destroy everything. "All ships, this is the horizon," Do-hyun broadcast on all frequencies. "Any ship that can escape Earth's gravity, do it now. They're going to destroy the planet." The first bombs fell like rain. Nuclear fire bloomed across Earth's surface. Cities that had stood for thousands of years vanished in seconds. Billions of people died in the first hour. The oceans boiled. The atmosphere caught fire. Do-hyun watched his home world burn. He had been born in Seoul. His parents, his friends, everyone he had ever known was down there. Now they were all gone. "Sir," Tae-sung said quietly, "the engines are ready." "Wait," Do-hyun said. "Are there any other ships out here?" Hae-jin checked her. "Sensors. I count 11 other vessels. Cargo ships mostly. Some passenger ships. They all have people on board." Do-hyun opened a channel to the other ships. "This is Captain Kim of the Horizon. Anyone who can hear this, follow us. We're jumping out of the system. Earth is gone, but we're still alive." As the Horizon and 11 other ships prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Do-hyun took one last look at Earth. The blue and green world he remembered was now a ball of fire and ash. The Vorthak ships were still bombing it, making sure nothing could survive. "Where are we going, sir?" asked Tae-sung. Do-hyun thought for a moment. They had coordinates for several nearby star systems, places where they might find planets that could support human life. But it didn't matter where they went. What mattered was that they survived. "Anywhere but here," Do-hyun said. "Take us away from this place." The ships jumped into faster-than-light travel just as the Vorthak finished their work. Earth was dead. The Vorthak ships began collecting the planet's resources, stripping away everything useful. They worked with cold efficiency, like farmers harvesting crops. Admiral Kethvar watched from his command ship as his forces completed their task. another primitive species removed from the galaxy. The Vorthak Empire had done this 1,000 times before. Weak species were eliminated so that strong ones could use their worlds. "Admiral," reported one of his officers, "some small ships escaped the system before we could destroy them." Kethvar barely looked up from his reports. "How many?" 12 ships, sir. Perhaps 50,000 beings total." Kethvar waved his hand. Dismissively. "Ignore them. 50,000 primitives scattered across the galaxy cannot harm the Empire. They will die slowly in space or find some dead world to hide on. Either way, they are no longer our concern." The Vorthak fleet finished its work and moved on to their next target. Behind them, Earth was nothing but floating rocks and radiation. They had taken everything valuable and left only waste. But they had made a mistake. They thought they had destroyed humanity. Instead, they had only made it angry. Du-hyun's ship, the Horizon, carried 50,000 people in sleeping chambers. Dr. Hyejin Park had managed to save genetic samples from Earth's plants and animals. Engineer Tae-sung Lee had grabbed every piece of technology he could find. As the 12 ships flew through space, looking for a new home, Do-hyun made a promise. He spoke it aloud in the empty command center while the survivors slept in their chambers. "We will survive," he said. "We will grow strong, and someday we will make them pay for what they did." The other ships were scattered across the galaxy now. Each one carried survivors who had lost everything. But humans were good at surviving. They were good at adapting. And they were very good at holding grudges. The Vorthak Empire ruled 10,000 worlds. They had millions of ships and billions of soldiers. They thought they were safe in their power. They had no idea what they had just created. Humanity had been peaceful before. They had wanted to explore the stars and make friends with alien species. But the Vorthak had changed all that. Now humanity had only one goal: revenge. The 12 ships flew on through the darkness between stars. Behind them, Earth was gone. Ahead of them lay an uncertain future. But in their hearts, the survivors carried something the Vorthak would learn to fear: hope, anger, and the absolute certainty that this was not the end. It was only the beginning. 50 years had passed since Earth burned. Captain Do-hyun Kim was now an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. He stood in the command center of Haven Station, a hidden base built inside a dead asteroid. Around him, the survivors of humanity worked at their stations. "Father, the reports are coming in," said So-young Kim as she entered the room. She was 30 years old, born in space, and had never seen Earth. But she knew what the Vorthak had done to her people's home. Do-hyun looked at his daughter with pride. So-young led a team of human spies who moved through alien space. They looked like other species now, using surgery and technology to change their appearance. The Vorthak Empire never suspected that humans still existed. "What did you learn?" Do-hyun asked. So-young activated a hologram that showed the galaxy. Red dots marked Vorthak worlds. There were thousands of them. "The Empire controls 10,000 star systems now. They have destroyed 47 species in the last 50 years. We're not the only ones they've killed." Dr. Hyejin Park walked over to join them. She was old now, too, but her mind was still sharp. She had spent decades studying Vorthak technology, learning how their empire worked. "I've made a discovery," she said. "The Vorthak rely completely on artificial intelligence to run their empire." Do-hyun raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "They have one central computer network that controls everything. Ships, weapons, supply lines, communications, everything runs through this network. If we could damage it..." Hyejin smiled. "We could bring down their entire empire." "How?" So-young asked. "A virus, a special computer program that could spread through their network and destroy it from the inside. I've been working on it for 20 years. I think I'm close to a breakthrough." Min-ho Choi entered the command center, carrying a piece of alien technology. He was 25 years old and had grown up taking apart Vorthak machines. "Look what I found on that wreck we salvaged," he said excitedly. He placed the device on a table. It was a Vorthak gravity drive, the technology that let their ships fly faster than light. But this one looked different, smaller, more elegant. "I've been studying how they build these," Minho explained. The Vorthak make everything big and heavy. They use brute force instead of clever design. But what if we made it smaller, more efficient? Do-hyun leaned forward. Show me. Minho activated the device. It hummed quietly, bending space around itself. A normal Vorthak drive this size could only power a small fighter, but I've improved the design. This could power a ship 10 times larger. Impressive, said Hyejin. What else have you learned from their technology? Their weapons are the same way, big, clunky, wasteful. But the basic science is sound. If we rebuild them using human engineering... Minho grinned. We could make weapons that are smaller, lighter, and more powerful than anything they have. So Young looked at the reports from her spies. We're going to need better weapons. The Vorthak are planning something big. They're moving fleets toward the Outer Rim. I think they're going to attack more worlds. Do-hyun felt anger rise in his chest. More worlds would burn, more species would die, just like Earth. How many ships? 500 vessels. They're targeting a system called Kethemora. The people there have been fighting back against Vorthak rule. Fighting back? Do-hyun's eyes lit up. You mean there are others who resist them? Yes. The Kethemorans have been hiding in their asteroid fields, attacking Vorthak supply ships. Sound familiar? So Young smiled grimly. Do-hyun made a decision. We're going to help them. Father, we only have 12 ships. The Vorthak have 500. Then we'll have to be smarter than them. Do-hyun turned to Minho. How many improved weapons can you build in the next month? Maybe 50. But sir, even with better weapons, we can't fight 500 ships. We're not going to fight them head-on, Do-hyun said. We're going to use the one advantage we have. They think we're all dead. Dr. Hyejin Park nodded slowly. A ghost ship. Attack! Hit them when they don't expect it, then disappear. Exactly. Minho, I want every weapon you can build. Hyejin, how is your virus coming along? I need more time. Maybe 6 months. You have 1 month. So Young, I need your spies to get us detailed information about the Vorthak fleet. Ship positions, patrol routes, everything. So, Young saluted her father. It will be done. The next month was the busiest in Haven Station's history. Minho worked 18 hours a day building improved weapons. He took Vorthak energy cannons and made them twice as powerful. He rebuilt their missiles to be faster and harder to stop. Every piece of alien technology was studied, improved, and rebuilt. Dr. Hyejin Park worked on her virus with desperate intensity. She knew that 50 years of hiding had led to this moment. If her virus could work, humanity might have a chance to strike back at their enemies. So Young's spies brought back detailed information about the Vorthak fleet. They learned which ships carried the most important officers. They found out when the ships would be most vulnerable. They even learned the codes that Vorthak ships used to identify each other. On Haven Station, the survivors prepared for their first real battle since Earth's destruction. They had started with 12 damaged ships and 50,000 refugees. Now they had a small fleet of upgraded vessels and a burning desire for revenge. Are you sure about this? Hyejin asked Do-hyun the night before they left. If we fail, the Vorthak will know we still exist. They'll hunt down every human in the galaxy. Do-hyun looked out at the stars through the station's window. Somewhere out there, the Vorthak were preparing to destroy another world. If we do, nothing. They'll keep killing innocent people. We can't let that happen. And if we succeed, then we prove that humanity is still alive. And we begin the long fight to take back our galaxy. The human fleet left Haven Station in secret, 12 ships against 500. It should have been suicide. But the humans had spent 50 years learning to survive against impossible odds. As they flew toward the Kethemora system, Do-hyun thought about Earth. He remembered Seoul's bright lights and busy streets. He remembered the blue oceans and green forests. All of it was gone now, turned to ash by Vorthak weapons. But humanity wasn't gone. They had learned to hide in the spaces between stars. They had learned to take alien technology and make it better. Most importantly, they had learned to be patient. The Vorthak thought they had destroyed a weak, primitive species. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Sir, So Young reported from her station, We're approaching the Kethmora system. The Vorthak fleet is exactly where our spies said it would be. Good, Do-hyun said. All ships, prepare for attack. Remember, we hit hard and fast, then disappear. Make every shot count. What about their computer networks? Asked Hae-jin. Are you ready to test your virus? Hae-jin smiled. I've been ready for 50 years. The human ships moved into position. Hidden in the shadow of a dead moon, they prepared to announce to the galaxy that humanity was far from extinct. The ghosts were about to become very real. The attack on the Vorthak fleet at Kethmora changed everything. In 30 minutes, 12 human ships had destroyed 50 Vorthak vessels and saved an entire world. News of the attack spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Ji-woo Song received the news while hiding in the cargo hold of a Vorthak transport ship. She was disguised as a Kethmoran slave, but she was actually human. Like many survivors, she had spent years learning to look like other species. Did you hear? Whispered another prisoner. Someone attacked the Vorthak fleet at Kethmora, destroyed 50 ships and disappeared. Ji-woo kept her face calm, but inside she was celebrating. After 60 years of hiding, humanity had finally struck back. She had work to do. When the transport ship landed on Vorthak Prime, Ji-woo slipped away from the other prisoners. She made her way through the massive city to a hidden safe house. There, she activated a secret communication device. This is Song, reporting, she said. The attack worked. The whole galaxy is talking about it. Every slave world wants to know who hit the Vorthak. The answer came from Yeon-soo Han, speaking from a hidden base in the asteroid belt. Then it's time for Phase 2. We're going to give them hope. Yeon-soo had been a military student when Earth fell. Now she was humanity's chief strategist. She had spent decades planning something called the Scavenger Protocol. The idea was simple. Turn the Vorthak Empire's own size against them. Every stolen ship, every captured weapon, every piece of salvage technology, she explained to her team. We use it all. We make the Vorthak's strength become our strength. The human survivors had scattered across 100 star systems. Some pretended to be refugees from destroyed worlds. Others disguised themselves as traders or mechanics. A few even joined alien pirate crews. But they all stayed in contact, waiting for orders. Now those orders came. Across the galaxy, humans began to move. On the mining world of Torvash, engineer Kyungmin Park led a slave revolt. The Vorthak had forced captured aliens to work in their mines for 50 years, but Kyungmin had secretly been teaching them to fight. When the revolution began, the miners were ready. The Vorthak think strength comes from big armies and massive ships, Kyungmin told the alien miners. But real strength comes from people working together. The revolt succeeded. The mining world was free, and Kyungmin gave the aliens a choice. Stay free or join the fight against the Vorthak. Most chose to fight. Similar revolts happened on dozens of worlds. Humans revealed themselves as leaders of resistance movements. They shared their technology and their knowledge. Most importantly, they proved that the Vorthak could be beaten. Back on Haven Station, Do-hyun watched reports come in from across the galaxy. His hair was completely white now, and he moved slowly, but his mind was still sharp. 67 worlds have revolted in the last month, reported his daughter So-young. The Vorthak are sending fleets to crush the rebellions, but they can't be everywhere at once. Good, Do-hyun said. What about our fleet? We now have 43 ships, all of them upgraded with Minho's technology. Each one is worth 10 Vorthak. Vessels in a fight. Minho Choi had become humanity's master engineer. He had spent years studying captured Vorthak technology and making it better. His workshops on Haven Station worked day and night, building weapons and ships from salvaged parts. Show me the new fighters, Do-hyun requested. Minho activated a hologram. It showed a sleek ship half the size of a Vorthak fighter. We call it the Wasp. It's faster than anything the Vorthak have. The weapons are more powerful, and it can jump to faster than light speed without a large ship to carry it. How many can we build? With the new resources from the freed worlds. Maybe 200 in the next year. Dr. Hae-jin Park entered the command center. She was very old now, but she had trained a team of younger scientists to continue her work. My virus is ready for a full test, she announced. What do you need? Do-hyun asked. A Vorthak command ship, something with a direct connection to their main network. So, Young smiled. I know just the target. The plan was ambitious even by human standards. Admiral Vex Thor commanded the Vorthak fleet that was attacking the rebel worlds. His ship, the Dominion, was the largest vessel in the sector. It contained the regional command center for the entire Vorthak network. If we can get the virus into that ship, Hyejin explained, it will spread to every Vorthak system in this part of the galaxy. The attack on the Dominion required careful planning. Yeon Soo-han studied the ship's patrol routes for weeks. She found a moment when it would be alone, separated from its escort fleet. We'll have maybe 20 minutes, she told the assault team. Get in, plant the virus, and get out before their reinforcements arrive. The assault team was led by Tae-sung Lee, the engineer from the original Horizon crew. He was an old man now, but he had trained the next generation of human commandos. They knew how to fight on Vorthak ships. They knew how to use alien technology against its creators. The attack happened during a shift change on the Dominion. Human fighters, invisible to Vorthak sensors, slipped past the ship's defenses. Commandos in stolen armor moved through the ship's corridors. To the Vorthak crew, they looked like maintenance workers. Tae-sung and his team reached the command center without being detected. They had 15 minutes to plant Hyejin's virus and escape. There, Tae-sung whispered, pointing to a central computer terminal. That's our target. One of his team members, a young woman named Yoo-jin Ko, was an expert at computer systems. She connected her device to the Vorthak terminal and began uploading the virus. How long? Tae-sung asked. 5 minutes. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The Vorthak had discovered the attack. Soldiers in heavy armor ran toward the command center. 3 minutes, Yoo-jin reported. Tae-sung and his team fought desperately to hold the command center. Human weapons, improved by Minho's engineering, cut through Vorthak armor like paper. But there were too many enemies. 1 minute. We're not going to make it, one of the commandos said. He was wounded and bleeding. Yes, we are, Tae-sung replied. He had lived through the destruction of Earth. He would not fail now. Upload complete, Yoo-jin announced. The virus spread through the Dominion's computer systems in seconds. Lights flickered. Artificial gravity failed. The ship's weapons turned off. Go, go, go! Tae-sung shouted. The commandos fought their way back to their fighters. Behind them, the Dominion was becoming dead in space. The virus was spreading through the ship's networks, shutting down everything electronic. As the human fighters escaped, they saw the Dominion floating helplessly. But more importantly, they saw the virus spreading to other Vorthak ships through communication signals. One by one, an entire fleet went dark. It's working, Yoo-jin reported with excitement. The virus is spreading faster than I expected. It's reaching every ship in the fleet. Across the galaxy, reports came in of Vorthak ships losing power. Their computer networks crashed. Their weapons failed. For the first time in centuries, the mighty Vorthak Empire was blind and helpless. On the rebel worlds, alien populations saw their oppressors' ships falling from the sky. They realized that freedom was possible. The revolution spread from world to world. Do-hyun watched the reports come in with satisfaction. How many ships have been affected? Over 3,000. So far, So-young reported, and the virus is still spreading. But Do-hyun knew this was just the beginning. The Vorthak would find a way to stop the virus eventually. They would rebuild their networks and come back stronger. Send a message to all human cells, he ordered. Phase 3 begins now. It's time to stop hiding. Across the galaxy, humans revealed themselves to their alien allies. They shared their technology, their tactics, and their dream of freedom. The scattered survivors of Earth had become teachers and leaders. The Underground Railroad was becoming an army, and at its head stood humanity, transformed by decades of struggle into something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that refused to stay dead. 100 years after Earth's destruction, humanity had become something their ancestors could never have imagined. Commander Nari-yoon stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, humanity's first true warship. She was 35 years old and had known only war since birth. Nari was So-young Kim's daughter, making her the great-granddaughter of Captain Do-hyun Kim, but she looked nothing like her ancestors. Her body had been enhanced with alien technology. Her bones were stronger than steel. Her eyes could see across multiple light spectrums. She was still human, but she was also something more. "Status report," she commanded. "Fleet is ready, Commander," reported her tactical officer. 200 ships, all equipped with the latest upgrades. We are faster and stronger than anything the Vorthak have. The human fleet had grown from 12 refugee ships to a force that could challenge the Vorthak Empire directly. Every ship was built from salvaged alien technology, but improved by human engineering. They were smaller than Vorthak vessels, but far more deadly. Dr. Seung-Hwan Lim worked frantically in his laboratory deep inside Haven Station. He was the newest leader of humanity's science division, carrying on the work that Dr. Hai Jin Park had started decades earlier. The quantum virus was his masterpiece, but it needed to be perfect. "The Vorthak have adapted to our previous virus," he explained to the military commanders. "They've isolated their networks and created backup systems. We need something stronger." "How? Much stronger?" asked Admiral Dongwook Jang. He commanded humanity's growing fleet from his flagship, the Retribution. Like all human ships, it was built from parts stolen from the Vorthak themselves. "This new virus won't just shut down their computers," Seung-Hwan said with a grim smile. "It will turn their own systems against them. Their ships will attack each other. Their defense networks will target their own worlds. It will be chaos." Nari nodded approvingly. "When will it be ready?" 1 month, but we need to test it on a real target first." Admiral Dong-wook studied the star charts. The Vorthak Empire still controlled most of the galaxy, but cracks were showing. Dozens of worlds had revolted. Alien species that had been slaves for centuries now fought alongside humans. "I have the perfect target," Dong-wook said. "The shipyards at Morketh Prime. They're building a new fleet to crush the rebellion. If we can destroy those yards, we cut off their ability to replace their losses," Nari finished. "I like it." The shipyards at Morketh Prime were the largest in the Vorthak Empire. Massive construction platforms orbited the planet, building the giant ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. The facility was protected by a fleet of 500 warships. "It's suicide," said Captain Woo Jin Seo, one of Dong-wook's advisors. "Even with our advantages, we can't fight 500 ships." "We're not going to fight them," Dong-wook replied. "We're going to make them fight each other." The plan was complex and dangerous. Human ships would attack the outer defenses, while a small team infiltrated the main command station. Once there, they would upload Seung-Hwan's virus to the station's central computer. The virus would spread to every ship and platform in the system. Nari led the infiltration team personally. She moved through the Vorthak command station like a ghost, her enhanced body allowing her to avoid detection. Behind her followed a team of human commandos, each one modified for combat. The Vorthak soldiers they encountered never knew what hit them. Human weapons had evolved far beyond their original designs. Energy blades could cut through any armor. Projectile weapons fired rounds that could penetrate ship hulls. Most deadly of all were the humans themselves. "Target acquired," Nari whispered into her communicator. She stood before the main computer terminal, the heart of the Morketh defense. "Network. Upload the virus," came Seung-Hwan's voice through her earpiece. "You have the latest version." Nari connected her device to the terminal. The virus began to spread immediately, moving through the Vorthak network faster than any organic mind could follow. Within seconds, it had infected every computer system in the facility. The results were immediate and devastating. Vorthak ships began firing on each other without warning. Defense platforms turned their weapons on nearby vessels. The massive shipyards started self-destructing, their own safety systems convinced that they were under attack by enemy forces. "It's working perfectly," Nari reported. "The entire system is in chaos." From his flagship, Admiral Dong-wook watched the Vorthak fleet tear itself apart. Ships that had served together for decades were now attacking each other with desperate fury. The virus had convinced each ship's computer that all other vessels were enemies. "Phase 1 complete," he announced to his fleet. "All ships, begin Phase 2. Target the command structures." The human fleet emerged from hiding and attacked the confused Vorthak forces. Their ships were smaller but faster, dancing between the alien vessels like sharks among whales. Every shot was precise. Every attack was calculated to cause maximum damage. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Morketh shipyards were nothing but floating wreckage. The Vorthak fleet had been completely destroyed, most of it by their own weapons. Not a single human ship had been lost. "Impossible," whispered General Korthvar as he watched the reports come in. He commanded the Vorthak forces in this sector of the galaxy. How did primitives from a dead world defeat our finest fleet? His aide, Colonel Vexnom, studied the battle recordings. "Sir, these aren't the same creatures we destroyed a century ago. Their technology is far advanced. Their tactics are unlike anything we've seen." "They're still just primitives," Korthvar snarled. "Increase security on all our facilities. Double the patrols. We'll crush this rebellion." But the rebellion was growing faster than the Vorthak could respond. Every victory brought more alien species to humanity's side. The Kethmorans contributed their knowledge of asteroid mining. The Zephyrians shared their expertise in starship engineering. Dozens of other species added their own strengths to the alliance. On Haven Station, now expanded into a massive military complex, human leaders planned their next move. The station had grown from a hidden refuge to the capital of a galactic resistance movement. "We've proven we can beat them in battle," said Nari during a strategy meeting. "But they still have thousands of worlds, millions of ships. We need something bigger." Admiral Dongwook nodded. "The virus worked well at Morketh, but the Vorthak will adapt again. They always do." Dr. Shung Huan had been working on that problem. "I have an idea, but it's dangerous. If we could penetrate their main network on Vorth Prime, their homeworld?" Nari raised an eyebrow. "That's the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy. It's also the center of their entire computer network. Every ship, every weapon, every system in the Vorthak Empire connects to the central. Computers on Vorth Prime. If we could get the virus there, we could shut down their entire empire," Dongwook finished. "How do we get there without being detected?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Yujin Ko, now the leader of humanity's intelligence network, had been studying Vorthak traffic patterns for months. "They're expecting a major offensive from us," she reported. "They've pulled ships from across the Empire to defend their core worlds, but that creates an opportunity. Their supply lines are stretched thin." "What kind of opportunity?" asked Nari. "A captured Vorthak heavy cruiser, the Dominator. It's carrying supplies to Vorth Prime. If we could take that ship, we could fly right into their home system disguised as a supply run," Dongwook said. With growing excitement, the capture of the Dominator required all of humanity's skills. The ship was taken during a carefully planned ambush in deep space. The Vorthak crew was overwhelmed before they could send a distress signal. Nari stood on the bridge of the captured vessel, studying its alien controls. "Can we operate this thing?" "The basics, yes," reported Minho Choi's son, Jin Woo. He had inherited his father's genius for engineering. "The Vorthak build their ships to be operated by anyone in their empire. We've learned their systems well enough to pass inspection." "What about the crew?" asked Yujin Ko. Nari smiled coldly. "We've had a century to learn how to look like other species. Some of us can pass as Vorthak now. The modified humans who would pose as the Dominator's crew were barely recognizable as the species that had once lived on Earth. Genetic therapy and cybernetic implants had changed their appearance completely. They looked like Vorthak soldiers, but inside, they were still human." As the Dominator approached Vorth Prime, Nari felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Her great-grandfather had watched Earth burn from the bridge of a small exploration ship. Now she was about to strike at the heart of the Empire that had destroyed her ancestral home. "Incoming transmission from Vorth Prime Control," reported the communications officer. "Put it through," Nari commanded, her voice now sounding exactly like a Vorthak officer's. "Dominator, you are cleared for approach to Supply Station 7. Proceed on heading 27 Mark 4. Acknowledged, Control. Beginning approach. The Ship moved toward Vorth Prime, carrying within it a virus that could bring down an entire empire. The final battle was about to begin. Emperor Zathmor stood in his throne room on Vorth Prime, watching reports of rebellion spread across the galaxy. His empire, which had ruled for 10,000 years, was falling apart. Primitive species were rising up everywhere. Ships were being destroyed. Worlds were declaring independence. "How many fleets have we lost this month?" he asked his commander. 17, Your Majesty, replied Admiral Kethvar, the same officer who had destroyed Earth a century before. He was older now, but still ruthless. "The rebels have weapons we don't understand. Their ships are small, but deadly. And their virus, the one that turns our computers against us? We've strengthened our defenses, but they keep finding new ways to attack our networks. It's as if they know our systems better than we do." Zathmor walked to a massive window that looked out over his capital city. Millions of Vorthak lived here, the heart of the greatest empire in galactic history. They had conquered countless worlds and destroyed dozens of species. But now, something was fighting back. "Who leads these rebels?" the Emperor demanded. "We believe it's the survivors from a world we destroyed long ago. The reports call them humans." Zathmor's eyes narrowed. "Humans? I remember that world. A pathetic little planet with primitive technology. We eliminated them completely." "Apparently not completely, Your Majesty. A few ships escaped." "How many survivors could there have been? A few thousand? 10,000? Our intelligence suggests perhaps 50,000 originally, but they've recruited other species to their cause. The rebellion now includes millions of beings across hundreds of worlds." Zathmor slammed his fist on his throne. 50,000 primitives have brought down my empire? This is impossible." But it was happening. Across the galaxy, human-led forces were winning battle after battle. Their technology was superior. Their tactics were brilliant. Most importantly, they had something the Vorthak had forgotten, the will to fight for something greater than themselves. On the captured ship Dominator, Commander Nari Yoon prepared for the most dangerous mission in human history. She and her team were about to infiltrate Vorth Prime itself, the most heavily defended world in the galaxy. "Remember," she told her team, "we only get one chance at this. Once we upload the virus to their central network, there's no going back. The entire Vorthak Empire will either fall or we'll all die trying." The ship docked at Supply Station 7 without incident. Nari's disguise was perfect. She looked exactly like a Vorthak officer. Her team moved through the station carrying equipment that appeared to be normal supplies but actually contained Dr. Seung-hwan's ultimate virus. "The central computer core is 3 levels down," whispered Yujin Ko through Nari's earpiece. "But the security is incredible. Energy shields, armed guards, biometric scanners." "We've come too far to stop now," Nari replied quietly. Meanwhile, Fleet Admiral Jinsu Park waited in the Void Nebula with humanity's entire military force. He was the great-grandson of Dr. Hae-jin Park and had inherited her brilliant mind. His fleet contained 500 ships, each one a masterpiece of human engineering. "Signal from the infiltration team," reported his communications officer. "They're inside the station." "Good," Jinsu said. "All ships, prepare for battle. As soon as that virus uploads, the Emperor will send everything he has to stop us." Emperor Zathmor had indeed prepared for this moment. 10,000 Vorthak warships surrounded the home system. It was the largest fleet ever assembled, containing enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. "Let them come," the Emperor declared. "When these humans attack, we'll crush them completely. This time there will be no survivors." On Vorth Prime, Nari and her team fought their way through increasing security. The station's guards were becoming suspicious. Alarms began to sound throughout the facility. "They know we're here," reported one of her commandos as he fired at approaching Vorthak soldiers. "How much longer?" Nari asked Yujin, who was working frantically at the central computer terminal. 2 minutes. The security on this system is unlike anything I've seen before." Enemy fire filled the corridor around them. Nari's enhanced body allowed her to move faster than any normal human, but even she was being overwhelmed. Her team was taking casualties. 1 minute, Yujin announced. "We don't have a minute," Nari replied, watching more Vorthak troops arrive. Then the lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. Through her earpiece, Nari heard Admiral Dongwook's voice from the human fleet. "The virus is uploaded. All systems on Vorth Prime are going down. It's working!" But their victory celebration was short-lived. Emperor Zathmor himself appeared in the corridor, wearing massive powered armor and carrying weapons that could destroy tanks. "So," he said in a voice like grinding metal. "These are the famous humans. You look different than I expected." Nari faced the emperor of the galaxy's greatest empire. Her ancestors had been peaceful explorers, but a century of war had forged her into something far deadlier. "Your empire ends today," she told him. "My empire has lasted 10,000 years. It will not fall to primitives from a dead world." The battle between Nari and Emperor Zathmor shook the entire station. His weapons were more powerful, but she was faster and smarter. Around them, the virus spread through Vorth Prime's networks, shutting down defenses and turning weapons against their own forces. In space above the planet, Fleet Admiral Jinsu Park led the human fleet into the largest battle in galactic history. 10,000 Vorthak ships attacked 500 human vessels. But the virus had given the humans a crucial advantage. "Their ships are fighting each other," reported Jinsu's tactical officer with amazement. "The virus has confused their targeting systems. They think we're friendly, and their own ships are enemies." "All ships, attack pattern Delta," Jinsu commanded. "Target their command vessels first." The human ships moved like a pack of wolves among the confused Vorthak fleet. They were outnumbered, 20 to 1, but their enemies were destroying each other. Human weapons, perfected over a century of desperate innovation, tore through alien defenses that had seemed invincible. On Vorth Prime, the battle between Nari and Emperor Zathmor reached its climax. The Emperor's armor was damaged, but he was still incredibly dangerous. Nari had been wounded, but her enhanced body was already healing. "You cannot win," Zathmor snarled. "Even if you destroy this fleet, I have others. Even if you take this world, I have thousands more." "You're wrong," Nari replied. "You had thousands of worlds, but your empire was built on fear and oppression. We're offering something you never could. Hope." She struck the final blow with a weapon that had been forged from the wreckage of Earth itself. Emperor Zathmor, ruler of 10,000 worlds, fell to a survivor of the planet he had destroyed. "The Emperor is dead," Nari announced through her communicator. "The virus has taken control of their entire network. Vorth Prime is ours. Across the galaxy, the effects were immediate. Vorthak ships lost power, defense networks shut down. Slave worlds declared independence. The empire that had seemed eternal crumbled in a matter of hours. Fleet Admiral Jinsu Park watched the last Vorthak command ship explode. "All enemy vessels destroyed or surrendering," he reported. "The Vorthak Empire is finished." On worlds throughout the galaxy, beings who had lived under Vorthak rule for generations walked free for the first time. Humans emerged from hiding to help coordinate the transition to freedom. The species that had once been considered extinct had become the galaxy's liberators. But the humans knew their work wasn't finished. Winning the war was only the beginning. Now they had to build something better than what they had destroyed. Nari stood in the ruins of the Emperor's throne room, looking out at the burning remains of the Vorthak fleet. Her great-great-grandfather had watched Earth burn from this same kind of window. Now she watched an empire burn in return. "Was it worth it?" asked Yujin Ko, who had survived the battle despite her wounds. Nari thought about the billions who had died when Earth was destroyed. She thought about the species that had been wiped out by Vorthak expansion. She thought about the generations of humans who had lived and died in exile, dreaming of this moment. "Ask me in 100 years," she said, "when we see what kind of galaxy we build from the ashes." The Vorthak Empire was dead. Humanity had its revenge. But more importantly, the galaxy was free to choose its own future. And at the center of that future stood the survivors of Earth, transformed by their long struggle into something new. Not just humans, but guardians of freedom for all species. The reckoning was complete. Now came the harder task of building peace. The Vorthak Empire fell in 7 days. News of Emperor Zathmor's death spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On 1,000 worlds, slaves broke their chains. Military commanders surrendered their fleets. An empire that had lasted 10,000 years simply stopped existing. President Eun-ji Kim stood in the ruins of the Emperor's palace on Vorth Prime. She was Nari Yoon's cousin and had been elected by the human survivors to lead them in peacetime. Behind her, alien delegates from across the galaxy waited to hear humanity's terms. 150 years ago, Yunji began. "The Vorthak destroyed our world and killed our people. They thought they had eliminated us completely. They were wrong." The delegates listened in silence. Some were former Vorthak officers. Others represented species that had been enslaved for centuries. All of them wondered what humanity would do with its victory. "We could have become like them," Yunji continued. "We could have built our own empire on fear and violence, but that's not who we are. Instead, we offer you a choice." She gestured to the documents that her assistants distributed to each delegate. "Join the Galactic Federation. Help us build something better than what we destroyed, or go your own way in peace. The choice is yours." General Morthak, one of the surviving Vorthak commanders, studied the document with surprise. "You're offering us equal representation after what we did to your people?" "Revenge is not justice," Yunji replied. "Justice is making sure this never happens again." The negotiations took 3 months. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds gathered on Vorth Prime to create the new government. The humans, despite having won the war, took only a small number of seats in the new Federation Council. "Why don't you claim more power?" asked Ambassador Kethalara of the Zephyrians. "You have the strongest fleet. You could rule the galaxy if you wanted." Fleet Admiral Jinsu Park, now serving as humanity's military representative, smiled. "We've seen what happens when one species tries to rule all others. We won't make that mistake." But even as they worked to build peace, humans continued to push the boundaries of technology. Master Engineer Wu Jin Seo led the effort to rebuild Earth itself. What had once been a dead, radioactive world was slowly being restored to life. "The Vorthak thought they destroyed Earth completely," Wu Jin explained to a group of visiting scientists. "But they only destroyed the surface. The planet's core is still intact. With the right technology, we can heal the damage. The restoration project used techniques that the galaxy had never seen before. Human engineers had learned to manipulate matter at the atomic level. They could neutralize radiation, restore atmosphere, and even regrow destroyed ecosystems from genetic samples. It will take 50 years to complete," Wu Jin said, "but Earth will be more beautiful than it ever was before." The project became a symbol of hope for the entire galaxy. Species that had lost their homeworlds to Vorthak expansion began similar restoration efforts. The technology that humans shared freely allowed dead worlds to live again. On the restored Earth, the first new human city was built where Sol had once stood. But it wasn't just for humans. The city welcomed beings from across the galaxy who wanted to learn from humanity's experience. Dr. Sol-Ki Lim, the newest head of human scientific research, established the Galactic Institute of Technology in the heart of the new city. Students from hundreds of species came to study the engineering techniques that had defeated the Vorthak Empire. "Knowledge belongs to everyone," she told her first class of mixed species students. "The discoveries we make here will benefit every world in the Federation." The Institute's first major project was developing new forms of faster-than-light travel. Human engineers had improved Vorthak technology so much that they could now travel between star systems in hours instead of days. "With this new drive system," explained Chief Engineer Hyun-Woo Kang, "we can explore beyond the edge of known space. There are entire galaxies out there waiting to be discovered." But not all humans were content with peace. Commander Jae-min Shin led a faction that believed humanity should use its military superiority to impose order on the galaxy. "Look at the chaos out there," he argued during a Federation Council meeting. "Former Vorthak worlds are fighting each other. Pirates, attack trading ships. Some species are trying to build their own empires. We have the power to stop all of this." President Yoon-ji listened to his concerns but remained firm. "Power without consent is tyranny. We didn't fight the Vorthak to become them." The debate divided human society. Some believed they had a responsibility to use their strength to protect weaker species. Others insisted that freedom meant the right to make mistakes. The answer came from an unexpected source. Captain Sojin Park was exploring the galaxy's outer rim when her ship detected signals from beyond known space. They were receiving messages from other galaxies, other civilizations that had been watching the fall of the Vorthak Empire. "There are others out there," she reported back to Earth. Civilizations far older and more advanced than anything in our galaxy. They're interested in making contact. The first alien ship from beyond the galaxy arrived at Earth 6 months later. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen. A vessel made of pure energy, piloted by beings who had evolved beyond physical form. "We are the architects," their leader communicated through pure thought. "We have watched your species for some time. You have done something remarkable." "What do you mean?" asked President Yunji during the first contact ceremony. "You defeated an empire without becoming one yourselves. You chose justice over revenge, peace over domination. This is unusual." The architects revealed that they had been observing the galaxy for millions of years. They had seen countless species rise and fall. Most followed the same pattern. They grew strong, conquered their neighbors, built empires, and eventually destroyed themselves. "The Vorthak were not the first to rule this galaxy," the architect explained. "There have been others, but all of them forgot that true strength comes from cooperation, not domination." "And humanity?" Yunji asked. "You remember? Perhaps it's because you lost everything and had to rebuild from nothing. Perhaps it's simply your nature. Either way, you have passed a test that few species survive." The architects offered humanity membership in a vast community of civilizations that spanned multiple galaxies. But they made it clear that the invitation extended to all Federation species, not just humans. "Leadership is not about being in charge," the architect said. "It's about helping others become their best selves. You have shown that you understand this." Years passed. The Galactic Federation grew stronger and more prosperous. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Scientific discoveries were shared openly. Conflicts were resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. Earth became the symbolic capital of the Federation, though real power was distributed among all member worlds. The planet that had once been destroyed by alien weapons was now a shining example of what cooperation could achieve. Admiral Yubin Han, the latest commander of the Federation Defense Force, stood on the observation deck of the orbital station above Earth. Below her, the blue and green world sparkled in the light of its sun. Ships from a dozen different species came and went from the planet's spaceports. "Hard to believe this is where it all started," said her aide, a young Kethmaran officer named Veltar. "Not where it started," Yubin corrected. "Where it began." Again, the real start was when Captain Do-hyun Kim decided that his species would survive no matter what. A new ship was approaching Earth, the first vessel equipped with humanity's newest faster-than-light drive. It would explore the space between galaxies, making contact with civilizations that humanity had only dreamed of. "Where do you think we'll be in another 100 years?" Veltar asked. Yubin smiled. "Probably somewhere we can't even imagine right now. But wherever we go, we'll remember what we learned from the Vorthak." "What's that?" "That the strongest empires are built on the weakest foundations. Fear and oppression may work for a while, but in the end, hope and cooperation always win." On Earth's surface, in the memorial garden where Seoul had once stood, a simple stone marked the place where humanity's greatest journey had begun. The inscription was written in every language spoken in the Federation, in memory of those who died when Earth fell, and in honor of those who lived to see it rise again. "From the ashes of defeat, we built victory. From the pain of loss, we learned compassion. From the depths of space, we found our way home." Humanity had claimed supremacy over their enemies, but their greatest victory was learning that true supremacy meant lifting others up rather than holding them down. The species that had once faced extinction had become the galaxy's guardians, protectors of freedom for all who sought it. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, filled with the light of worlds where hope had replaced fear. And at the center of it all was Earth, the small blue planet whose children had refused to let darkness win. Scrap had become supremacy. But more importantly, revenge had become redemption. The galaxy was free, and humanity had finally found its way home.